Hello everybody, all of you are definitely keeping fine. Hopefully all of you are at home. Anyway, today we are going to read the poem Mild the Mist Upon the Hill by Emily Jane Bronte. Mild the Mist Upon the Hill. This is a very interesting poem. Hopefully you will enjoy reading the poem. Now, all of us are very interested to know about our past. Sometimes it happens that whenever we are in a very leisurely mood, and that mood is created by some natural atmosphere, by some natural phenomenon or something like that, then we become very eager to know about our past, and sometimes certain things automatically flash back upon our mind. Say for example, when you have grown up and you are passing by the little park in which you used to come and play with your mother when you were a very little kid. Now when you see the other children playing, obviously it will flash upon your mind that there was a time when you also was like a similar child, you were also like a similar child, and you used to come and play there with the other children as well. So there are certain things which make us reminiscent, and this is what is called as a kind of nostalgia. Sometimes certain things make us nostalgic. Could you get the idea of nostalgia? When you are watching something, you are experiencing something in practical life, but the past is automatically flashing upon your mind, and your mind becomes a little, what I would say, a little bit indifferent towards things, towards the practical affairs of life. Then হঠাৎ করে মনটা উদাস হয়ে গেল, like this. That is what is called as nostalgia. So this is a poem, Mild the Mist Upon the Hill, where the poet feels nostalgic about her past. Emily Jane Bronte. Now it happened so that in a rainy summer day, you know, summer itself is very attractive in England because it is a cold winter dominated country. So the short spell of summer is very inviting, very welcome to everyone there, especially the children. They are extremely bothered by the cold weather, and so the summer season itself is very enjoyable to them. And on such a summer day, when it rained all through the day, then the children often become very nostalgic. Now this poet, who has now grown up, this rainy day made her feel about her happy bygone days, and she felt nostalgic. How did she feel nostalgic? Now after the rain, when at the distant mountain, at the top of the distant mountain, there is a cluster of mountains, you can understand. In that cluster or chain of mountains, at the top of it, mild mists have accumulated. Mist, you know what is called as in Bengali as kuasha. After the rain has stopped, tiny water droplets from a kind of cloud, and this is covering the entire mountain chain. By watching this, the poet feels nostalgic, and the mist appears to be blue. You know, which does not have any color, something which does not have any color, if it is viewed from a long distance, it often looks like blue, like what is called the blue sky, the blue ocean. They are not really blue. If you go closer to it, you will see that actually this is colorless, but here it appears to be blue. And the poet, when she sees the blue mists, she tries to realize, she tries to understand, she tries to analyze what the blue mists are telling her, because she feels a nostalgia in her mind, and then she realizes that, well, the blue mists of course do not tell her about the stormy life ahead. Literally it means about the storms ahead, but figuratively it means that, you know, there are ups and downs of life. Life every moment is getting more and more complicated every day. It is often said that every second step of our life is a steeper challenge. So the poet says, she asks herself, does it tell me does the mist tell me about the stormy life ahead, about the hardships of life ahead, or what is it? Then she realizes, oh no, the mists are definitely not telling me about the hardships of life ahead, the storms, the battles of life ahead, but of the happy bygone days of the past. So you can understand that the poet is now shifting from the present to the past, and towards the end of the poem we will see that she again comes back to the present. The day has wept its fill. The rain throughout the day appears to the poet that as if the day itself has also felt nostalgic, and the day has wept its fill. The shower of the day, the downpour, the rains of the day have now been compared as the day itself has been personified here, and the shower is compared to the tears of the day, and spent its store of silent sorrow. Silent sorrow. That means it is bringing to the poet a kind of sorrow in a silent manner, that the happy bygone days of her childhood, which are gone forever. They will never return in her life. That is how the poet analyzes the accumulation of the mist around the mountain chain. Okay. And then, as she feels reminiscent, as she feels nostalgic, she immediately travels back to her long past when she was but a child, and various things of her childhood days flash upon her mind. What are those things? And she says, I am gone back to the days of youth, to the days of youth. I am a child once more. She fervently desires that she were a child once more. And beneath my father's sheltering room, and near the old hall door, certain things of life of the past days flash upon her mind, and she realizes that, well, she feels that as if, as a child, she is once again under the protective care of her father, and she feels as if under the protected roof of her father's house. It's a large house, obviously you can understand, and the old hall door. Probably she used to stand over there and look at the open nature or something like that, and that is why this old hall door has been imprinted in her mind, and she remembers about the old hall door. And then again she shifts to the present. I watch this cloudy evening fall after the rainy day. The cloud evening fall, obviously the evening, it also brings a kind of darkness, and this darkness also creates a kind of gloom in the poet's mind. I watch this cloudy evening fall after a day of rain, after a day full of rain, when the cloud again returns, and this cloud also brings to the poet's mind a kind of nostalgia. Blue mist, sweet mist of summer call the horizon's mountain chain, and the blue mists, and the poet has also called it as sweet mist, because the misty atmosphere, the mists, remind her about her happy bygone days. So she uses the epithet blue mist, sweet mists of summer pearl, the horizon's mountain chains. Far away over there in the horizon, the cluster of mountain, the chain of mountains, the top of them are all covered with the thick mist, which look like a summer pall. Pall is a, what I would say, rather a thick cloud of smoke, the horizon's mountain chain. And then she again returns to the present. The dam stands in the long green grass. There are standing the long green grass, and after the rain and after the mist, it appears that the moisture has accumulated around the blades of the grass. So to the poet's imagination, it appears that the dam that has stood in the long green grass appears to be as thick as morning tears, early morning tears. Actually, morning tears is called as the dewdrops. Now, the moisture accumulation on the blades of the grass remind the poet about the early morning atmosphere, when the dewdrops similarly accumulate on the blades of the grass and create a similar kind of view. The dreamy scents of fragrance pass that breathe of other years. and then you know rain brings a new kind of smell. Now after the rainy day towards the evening, which is the confluence of the day and the evening, a kind of smell is spreading everywhere, and to the poet it appears that this fragrance is somehow familiar to her, and this smell, this fragrance, it brings her an idea, what I would say, a remembrance about the happy bygone days, the days of childhood which have passed and passed forever, which will never return again. That is how we find that in this whole poem, the poet feels nostalgic, thinking about her past, and then she returns to the present, and then again feels something about the past. So this is a poem of shifting of ideas, we can say, from present to past to present again. Okay. So what the entire thing comes down to, it is a rainy summer day, and at the end of the day, the full of rains, the whole day is full of rains. After the full day of rains towards the evening, the poet watches at the distant mountain tops and sees that a kind of thick mists have accumulated on the tops of the mountain chain, and from a distance, when it is viewed from a distance, the mist appears to be blue in color, and this reminds the poet of her happy bygone days, and she wishes that she were a child again. She fervently desires that she were a child again, and then as a child she suddenly travels back to her own childhood days, the days that she used to pass in absolute safety and absolute happiness under the protective care of her parents, of her father, and she feels that she were again a child under the sheltering roof of her father. And then she remembers the old hall door, and then after the full rainy day, when the cloud, a thick cloud of white mist have accumulated around the mountain chain, the poet again remembers that the horizon's mountain chain, it has brought to her a kind of nostalgic feelings. And then the damp on the green grass, it reminds her about the early morning dewdrops, and then she feels that she has lost her happy bygone days of childhood, and they will never return to her life. So there are certain images in this poem, and these small images give a charm. They add a charm to the total implication of the poem. Like you see, the most important of all is the blue mist, mild mist. Then the day has wept its fill. Try to understand the metaphor. The day has wept its fill. The day has been personified here. Silent sorrow. Now, if we have to remember about our past, and if it makes us feel nostalgic, that cannot be very loud. It brings to us a very silent recollections of the days. That is what the poet has termed here this feeling as silent sorrow. And then father's sheltering roof, old hall door. These are also very small images that take us to a world of a childhood happy days. And then the summer pall, mountain chain, sweet mists. These are also small images. So Emily Bronte was a master craftsmanship in creating a total atmosphere by the application of very small images. Dreamy scents of fragrance past the breath of other years. Okay. Now let me read out the whole poem first. Once again. About the poet as well. Emily Jane Bronte was an English poet and novelist. best remembered for her only novel, Wuthering Heights, long considered a classic of English literature. It is still considered a classic of English literature. Rather, I would say it is a priceless jewel of English literature. Wuthering Heights. She was a very delicate, fragile lady, and all her thoughts and reactions flashed in all her poems are also very soft, simple literary attributes, I would say, wonderful literary specimens that bring you to a world of very soft and somber state. In this poem, the blue mist that surrounds the distant mountains reminds the poet of the happy days of youth and childhood that she has left behind. As she describes the landscape, she shifts from the present moment to the past and then to the present again. So it is a journey of the mind from the present to the past and then back to the present again. Now the poem. Mild the mist upon the hill, telling not of storms tomorrow. No, the day has wept its fill, spent its store of silent sorrow. Oof, I am gone back to the days of youth. I am a child once more, and beneath my father's sheltering roof, and near the old hall door, I watch this cloudy evening fall after a day of rain. Blue mist, sweet mists of summer fall the horizon's mountain chain. The dam stands in the long green grass, as thick as morning's tears, and dreamy scents of fragrance pass, that breath of other years. That is the poem. I will send you the summary as well. I will write it on your book. Hopefully you have understood. Now read the poem again and again 2-3 times and try to understand how the poet shifts from present to past and then returns to the present again. That is one thing. And secondly, the summary will be there. From the summary you will have all the answers to your questions. Now exercise, the MCQ type questions. Hopefully you will be able to do them all. Anyway, let us do. The mist was upon the grass, roof, hill, leaf. So the mist was upon the hill. The third option C. The sorrow of the day is described as silent, terrible, overwhelming, little. The first option is the correct choice. Silent. The hall door mentioned in the poem is new, large, broken and old. Obviously the last one, the old hall door. The poet watches the cloudy morning, evening, afternoon, night. The cloudy evening, second option is correct. The color of the mist is grey, white, yellow, blue. According to the poem, it has to be blue. The dam stands on the wall, floor, bush, grass. The dam stands on the grass. Now, where does the poet, there are two questions. Where does the poet see herself when she thinks of her childhood? The poet sees herself near the old hall door of her father's sheltering roof of the house. What did the poet watch on the cloudy evening? The poet watched the summer fall on the cloudy evening. Summer fall that has accumulated around the distant mountain chains of the horizon on the cloudy evening. Okay, you will get all of them in the summary. Now let us do the grammar portion. Identify the following sentences as simple, compound and complex. He is too short to climb the wall. We know that simple means there will be only one finite verb, or more precisely one principal clause. Complex means one principal plus one or more than that subordinate clause or clauses. And compound means two principal clauses to be joined with a coordinating conjunction. So he is too short to climb the wall is only one finite verb. So this is a simple sentence. If we have to change it to complex and compound, what should it be? He is so short that he cannot climb the wall. This is the complex. He is so short is the principal clause, that he cannot climb the wall is the subordinate adverbial clause of result. So one principal and one subordinate makes it complex. Now if I have to change it to compound, he is very short and so he cannot climb the wall. He is very short is one principal clause, he cannot climb the wall is another principal clause, so is the coordinating conjunction, so or and so. The sky was blue and the sun shone bright. So the sky was blue is one principal clause, the sun was bright, the sun shone bright, this is another principal clause and is the coordinating conjunction. So this is a compound sentence. Okay. If I have to change it to simple, what should we do? The sun having shone brightly, the sky was blue. The sun having shone brightly, the sky was blue. This is simple. Or complex, as the sun shone bright or brightly, the sky was blue. Okay, as the sun shone brightly, the sky was blue. So there is a relationship between these two. The sun shone brightly, that is why the sky looked blue. Otherwise, he would have looked grey. The old man who lived in a village believed that the earth was flat. So there are three clauses here, you see. The old man who lived in a village believed that the earth was flat. The old man believed is one principal clause. Who lived in a village is another clause. That the earth was flat, this is another clause. Now if you watch carefully, you will see that every verb will have its own subject. Now believed, lived and was, there are three verbs. Believed, the old man believed. So this is the principal clause. Who lived in a village, this is the subordinate adjective clause qualifying the noun old man. This is adjective clause qualifying the noun, the antecedent, the old man. That the earth was flat, this is a group of words with a finite verb and it begins with a subordinating conjunction that. So this is a subordinate clause. And what kind of clause is it? It is a noun clause because it is doing the function of object to the verb believed. So we have got three clauses. The old man believed, principal clause. Who lived in a village is subordinate adjective clause qualifying the noun old man. Or that the earth was flat, this is another noun clause used as object to the verb believed. So one principal, two subordinate make it complex sentence. এটাকে সিম্পল করলে কি হবে? আমাকে তাহলে একটা ক্লজে রিডিউস করতে হবে. We have to bring only one finite verb. The old man living in a village believed the earth to be flat. The old man living in a village, we make it participle qualifying the noun old man. Believed the earth to be flat, this is another noun phrase. তাহলে আমাকে ফাইনাইট ভার্বগুলোকে নন ফাইনাইট ভার্ব করে দিতে হলো. Then it becomes a simple sentence. আবার বলছি, the old man living in a village believed the earth to be flat. And এটাকে কম্পাউন্ড করলে কি হবে? কম্পাউন্ডটা ইজিয়ার কম্পারেটিভলি. তাকে লক্ষ্য করে the old man living in a village, the old man lived in a village. The old man lived in a village and believed the earth to be flat. Two clauses. The old man lived in a village and believed the earth to be flat. তারপরে দেখো, leaving a job midway is not a good practice. Leaving a job midway is not a good practice. This is again a simple sentence because there is only one finite verb is, and leaving the first leaving, it is a non-finite verb and it is a gerund. তো এটাকে কমপ্লেক্স করলে কি হবে? If you leave a job midway, it is not a good practice. If you leave a job or if someone leaves a job midway, it is not a good practice. And compound করলে কি হবে? One may leave a job midway, but it is not a good practice. You may leave হতে পারে, you may leave a job midway, but it is not a good practice. The last one. Last week I met a friend who gave me a bag which is brown in color. Last week I met a friend who gave me a bag which is brown in color. খুব ক্লিয়ার তিনটে ক্লজ আছে, বুঝতে পারছো? There are three finite verbs: met, gave, is. So last week I met a friend is one clause, who gave me a bag is another clause, and the third clause is which is brown in color. So one principal, two subordinate, again make it a complex sentence. Last week I met a friend is the principal clause. Who gave me a bag is the subordinate adjective clause qualifying the noun friend, which is brown in color. This is again the second adjective clause qualifying the noun bag. তাহলে এটাকে কমপ্লেক্স থেকে আমি যদি সিম্পলি করি কি হবে? Last week I met a friend who gave me a bag. So the friend met by me last week. এটাকে past participle করে দাও। The friend met by me last week gave me a brown bag. The friend met by me last week. Don't get confused. Met by me, this is past participle. এটা কিন্তু finite verb নয়, non finite verb. Gave me a brown bag. আর এটাকে যদি আমরা কম্পাউন্ড করি তাহলে কি হবে? লাস্ট উইক আই মেট এ ফ্রেন্ড অ্যান্ড হি গেভ মি এ ব্রাউন ব্যাগ। এটা হিও হতে পারে, শিও হতে পারে, বিকজ ফ্রেন্ড ইজ কমন জেন্ডার ইউ নো। সো লাস্ট উইক আই মেট আ ফ্রেন্ড অ্যান্ড হি অর শি গেভ মি এ ব্রাউন ব্যাগ। দিস ইজ দ্য কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্স। তারপর নেক্সট, গো টু দ্য নেক্সট এক্সারসাইজ। ডু অ্যাজ ডিরেক্টেড। দ্য কোয়েশ্চেন ওয়াজ সো ইজি দ্যাট এভরিওয়ান কুড আনসার ইট। Change into a simple sentence. The question was so easy that everyone could answer it. দেখো এটা আছে কিসে আগে বলো তো? The question was so easy, this is principal clause, that everyone could answer it. এটা subordinate adverb clause of reason. তোমরা সবাই জানো subordinate adverb clause। তাহলে one principal one subordinate make it complex sentence। এটাকে সিম্পল করলে আমাকে কি করতে হবে? একটাকে নন ফাইনাইট ভাবে চেঞ্জ করে দিতে হবে। তা ওয়াজটাকে করে দেওয়াটা খুব সহজ। থাকে the question being very easy everyone could answer it. The question being very easy everyone could answer it. এটাকে আরেকটা অন্যরকম ভাবে করা যায়, একটু ডেভিয়েট করবে কিন্তু সেটাও ভালো সেন্টেন্স হবে। The question was too easy not to be answered by everybody. The question was too easy not to be answered. to নেগেটিভ সেন্স বিয়ার করে, to not to দিলে পজিটিভ হয়ে যায়। তাহলে the question was too easy not to be answered by everyone হয়ে গেল সিম্পল। আচ্ছা এটাকে চলো আমরা এখানে করতে বলিনি তো, আমরা নিজেরা করি, এটা কম্পাউন্ড করি। যদি কি হবে? The question was so easy that everyone could answer it. Mind it, compound means two principal clauses with a coordinating conjunction. The question was very easy and everyone could answer it. The question was very easy and everyone could answer it. The question was very easy is one principal clause, everyone could answer it is another principal clause and is the coordinating conjunction. তারপরটা দেখো, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Change into a complex sentence. আগে বলাটা কিসে আছে? সিম্পলে আছে। a friend in need is a friend indeed. এই যে is একটা ফাইনাইট ভার্ব, that means one principal clause, so this is a simple sentence. এটাকে কমপ্লেক্স করলে কি দাঁড়াবে? A friend who is in need is a friend indeed. A friend who is in need is a friend indeed. আমার কিভাবে হলো এটা কমপ্লেক্স? A friend is a friend indeed, এটা হলো প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লজ। আর who is in need এটা হলো সাবঅর্ডিনেট অ্যাডজেক্টিভ ক্লজ কোয়ালিফাইং ফার্স্ট ফ্রেন্ড। তাহলে এটা কমপ্লেক্স হয়ে গেল। আবার এটাকে যদি কম্পাউন্ড করি কি দাঁড়াবে? A friend may be in need and he is a friend indeed. A friend may be in need and he is a friend indeed. Pollution is one of the most severe threats to our beautiful planet. Change into a compound sentence. Pollution is one of the most severe threats to our beautiful planet. বুঝতেই পারছো এটা আছে সিম্পল সেন্টেন্সে। This one is a simple sentence. We have to change it to compound, means two principal clauses. Pollution is one of the most severe threats to our beautiful planet. One of the most severe, তার মানে there are certain other severe threats as well. আমরা সেভাবে করি, there are several severe threats to our beautiful planet and pollution is one of them. There are several severe threats to our beautiful planet and pollution is one of them. কম্পাউন্ড হয়ে গেল। আচ্ছা এটা যদি আমরা কমপ্লেক্স করি কি হবে? It is pollution দিয়ে শুরু করে দাও, তাহলে হয়ে যাবে। It is pollution which is one of the most severe threats to our beautiful planet. এটাও করতে পারো। আবার শুধু বিউটিফুল প্ল্যানেটটাকে একটা অ্যাডজেক্টিভ ক্লজে যদি ভেঙে দাও তাহলে হবে pollution is one of the most severe threats to our planet which is beautiful. Okay, that becomes complex. Do or die, change into complex sentence. Do or die আসলে either you do or you will die. বুঝতেই পারছো, আইদার অর এটা একটা কোঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন, তাহলে এটা একটা কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্স। ডু অর ডাই এটাকে আমরা সিম্পলে করলে কি হবে? তার মানে একটাকে নন ফাইনাইট ভার্বে চেঞ্জ করে দিতে হবে, in the event of not doing you must die or failing to do you must die. এটা হয়ে গেল সিম্পল। এবার যদি কমপ্লেক্স করি, যেটা করতে বলেছে কমপ্লেক্স, আনলেস ইউজ করো, বিকজ ডু অর ডাই এর মধ্যে একটা আনলেসে তোমরা যেন একটা কম্পালশন থাকে, সেন্স অফ কম্পালশন। সো ইট ইজ ভেরি মাচ দেয়ার, ডু অর ডাই, করেঙ্গে ইয়ে মরেঙ্গে, হয় করো না হয় মরো। সো there is no other option. So unless you do you must die, that is the complex sentence. Unless you do, subordinate adverbial clause of condition, or you must die is the principal clause. One principal, one subordinate, make it a complex sentence. Repeat, unless you do you must die. He was confused and stopped working. Change into a simple sentence. এটা কম্পাউন্ড আছে দেখো, he was confused and হিটা ব্র্যাকেটসে মনে মনে ধরে নাও, stopped working means একটা সাবজেক্ট এক সেন্টেন্সে দুবার মেনশন করতে নেই, ওটা ইমপ্লাইড হয়ে যায়, এমনি আন্ডারস্টুড। হি ওয়াজ কনফিউজড প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লজ, হি স্টপড ওয়ার্কিং ইজ দ্য সেকেন্ড প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লজ। তোমরা জানো দ্য প্রিন্সিপাল ইন এ কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্স দ্য ফার্স্ট প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লজ ইজ কল্ড প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লজ অ্যান্ড দ্য ফলোয়িং প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লজেস পরেরগুলোকে বলি আমরা কোঅর্ডিনেট ক্লজ। সো হি ওয়াজ কনফিউজড ইজ দ্য প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লজ, হি স্টপড ওয়ার্কিং ইজ দ্য কোঅর্ডিনেট ক্লজ অ্যান্ড ইজ দ্য কোঅর্ডিনেটর। It is a coordinating conjunction. এটাকে সিম্পল করলে কি হবে? being confused he stopped working, being confused he stopped working। আর কমপ্লেক্স করলে কি হবে? as he was confused he stopped working। তোমরা জানো as, since আর because এই তিনটে একই রকমের সাবঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন, তিনটে একই মানে, সুতরাং আমরা as ও ইউজ করতে পারি, since ও ইউজ করতে পারি, because ও ইউজ করতে পারি। যেমন দেখো he stopped working because he was confused, শুধু বিকজটা সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে করো না। আর সিন্স দিয়েও করতে পারো, সিন্স হি ওয়াজ কনফিউজড হি স্টপড ওয়ার্কিং। তাহলে কি দাঁড়ালো? হি স্টপড ওয়ার্কিং বিকজ হি ওয়াজ কনফিউজড, অর হি স্টপড ওয়ার্কিং অ্যাজ হি ওয়াজ কনফিউজড, হি স্টপড ওয়ার্কিং সিন্স হি ওয়াজ কনফিউজড। আর সিম্পল যেটা করতে বলেছে সেটা আগেই আমরা করেছি, বিং কনফিউজড হি স্টপড ওয়ার্কিং। ওকে, সো এই হচ্ছে আমাদের মাইল্ড দ্য মিস্ট আপন দ্য হিল এর grammatical exercises and the text. I will send you the summary, but try to write yourselves as well in your own words. Whatever you have understood about the poem, please write down in the form of a summary and then tally, compare it between what you have written and what you have got from your teacher. Then you will understand to what extent you are right or you are wrong. Okay, but hopefully you have understood the whole poem. সবাই বুঝেছো ডেফিনেটলি। এটা একটু মানে লিটারারি ছোঁয়া আছে, লিটারারি টাচ আছে আর কি, অ্যান্ড দ্যাটস ওয়াই আই থিঙ্ক ইউ উইল এনজয় দিস পোয়েম। দিস ইজ এ রিফ্লেক্টিভ পোয়েম, ইটস এ ওয়ান্ডারফুল পোয়েম। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ, গড ব্লেস ইউ। সবাই ভালো থেকো, বায়না টায়না করো না যেন বাড়িতে। ওকে, গড ব্লেস মাই চিলড্রেন, থ্যাংক ইউ।